Hey everyone, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu. I hope you're doing well. So what I wanted to do was just cover some questions. I've got some questions that everybody sends in, not everybody, but a lot of you send in, and I really appreciate that you do that because it gives me some idea of what you're looking at and how I can help you. So now a gentleman out in Guam, black belt, wrote me. Actually, he's a friend of a friend. Stumbled onto her videos, finds it very informative. He's been training since 2001. Said that as I've gotten older, I noticed that I haven't been able to train as much and as hard as I have. He's 48 now. And I have young kids and I have a full-time job. I love training, but between my work and my family, I'm finding it difficult to make some time to train to train the way that I want to, and I'm beginning to feel guilty that I should be doing family stuff. Any advice would be appreciated. So yeah, this is something that, so you just kind of want to know what kind of adjustments, if any, did I have, or as other people have had to make when they're getting older, time management, family training. So what I would say is this, you have to figure out what your priorities are. So I started training at about age 21. So 1989, yeah, I was 21 years old. So when I started training, I was still in college and I didn't get out of college till 24. And then from there, it was just my wife and I. We got married after I got out of college, moved to California, and I trained at the Gracie Academy. So I had no kids. My wife worked at an airline, so she worked really odd hours. She'd sometimes work, a graveyard type shift. So after work, I'd get home and she wouldn't be home. She'd be working. And I would just kind of, take a quick nap, then I'd head out to the academy and I'd train. So for me, I could spend all my time training when she wasn't at home, and because I had no kids, I didn't have any pets either. So for me at that point, throughout my 20s, I could do that. My son was born in the year 2000, which would then make me 32 years old. So it wasn't until I was 32 where I actually had family commitments. And at that point in time, my training did start to taper off. And I did kind of feel guilty about it, but at the end of the day, my family was more important than my training. Now, I would try to find spots here and there where I could train, and some of you know my history in training. There was a 10-year period where I trained very little. I might have trained anywhere from 5 to 10 times in a year over a 10-year period. So I did not get better. I had my purple belt the whole time. So it was disappointing on my end, but it was something that I knew that I always want to do. But for me, jiu-jitsu wasn't my life. I didn't want to have a school. I wasn't looking to run a school. That wasn't my dream. So I wasn't really feeling all that bad or guilty that I wasn't able to train. I didn't feel good that I didn't get to train a lot because training made me feel good. So there was that period of time where I just wasn't feeling all that good, but I wasn't down on myself. It was just, I knew I had other things I needed to do. Now that I had a family, I needed to make sure that I put in my hours working. I worked for commission, so I had to dial the phone. I had to get those sales so I could put food on the table, I could pay the mortgage. So for that, I missed my training. This particular gentleman is a black belt now, and the way I look at it is this. You've already achieved a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which is something that very few people legitimately do. Once you get to that point and now you have your life, just live your life and have judo or jiu-jitsu be something that you do for fun and for leisure. If you're looking to run a school, then okay, you're gonna have to put some priority into your business just like it were in your school, just like it were any other business. And you have to put a lot of time to it. But don't feel bad at all. Jiu-jitsu will always be there. Your kids will not always be young. Your job may not be there if you're getting injured and you're not able to show up for work because of jiu-jitsu. So put jiu-jitsu in the place that it needs to be to make it comfortably fit where it belongs. So I'm not saying how you should prioritize it, but for me, it would be, my family would be first, and after that would be my job because I can always get another job, but I can't get another family, and then jiu-jitsu would be after that. And it might even be further down the list. But for me, since I run the school now, jiu-jitsu is a high priority for me. But still, I try to spend as much time with my family. But right now, my wife literally just called me, and it's about 9 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I'm not home. I'm here doing videos for you guys. So I love you. Can I prioritize other things for jiu-jitsu so that I can do jiu-jitsu later. And that's exactly what I did. I prioritized other things in my life. You know, I prioritized making sure I had enough money so I could support my family in high cost of living Southern California. Whereas if I didn't have to work as hard to hit all the bills and get my kids fed and get to do things that we want to do, then I could maybe spend more time training. But being that I had to allocate so much of my time to surviving, and then then after I do that, then I have to make sure I have enough time for my family. That didn't leave much time for jiu-jitsu. But I think the way things turned out, had I not done those things and put jiu-jitsu on the back burner for a little while, I would not be in the situation I am now with Dave Kama, and I might have been training under somebody else or somewhere else, and I would not have the life that I have right now. I've got a great life. The members here at the studio for both campuses fill a void in me that I've had for years, and I love coming to train and teach every day. So I can't see that I've done anything wrong. So for you, sir, do what you have to do to make sure that your family, in my mind, your family is your priority. Do your work, and build your career, or if you already have a career built, fine, prioritize it, get whatever you need done so that you can have the enjoyment with your family. Jiu-jitsu won't be going anywhere. You can always come back to jiu-jitsu. Now, you may come back to it 10 years from now when you're in your 50s, and you may find there's a whole crop of young guys who are just smashing the hell out of you. That's okay. It doesn't matter, right? You're coming back to train. If you take a hiatus, you would come back to train for enjoyment. You've already achieved the black belt. You may not feel like a black belt when you come back to train after a hiatus, but it doesn't matter because you've had those 10 years that you got to spend with your family, and you got to enjoy those memories. Like I said, like you said, you already earned your black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's not saying that the journey's done. For me, it isn't. When I got my black belt, I began to train even more because I wanted to find out more, I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to teach more. And as I teach more, I learn more as well. So at your stage in life, you may not get to enjoy that type of jiu-jitsu activity, but in my mind, I'm telling you, it's okay. Jiu-jitsu not going anywhere. You can always come back.